It's no secret that the entire internet is filled with game dev tutorials. A quick Google search shows over 17 million tutorials just on YouTube alone. And that's crazy. It ranges from creating game mechanics to creating entire projects. Tutorials are a great starting point. They're even good if you're completely stuck on a problem that needs some support. All your fellow devs have been there. But there are key differences between learning from a tutorial and watching and blindly copying a tutorial. So let's dig into it. Hey all, I'm Andrew from Stasis Booth Games. Welcome back, or if you're new, just welcome. If you'd like to keep up to date with what's happening with We Are Not Alone, the game I'm developing, or if you'd like first access to the demo as soon as it's out, just follow the link down in the description. Today we're going to talk about the tutorial trap. Now this is a real thing, because I just made up the catchphrase, but it is a real thing. You might find yourself starting one tutorial, looking for the next, and either not creating anything, getting stuck on the tutorial loop, or you'll make something that is just tutorials mashed together, held together with duct tape, glue, and your hopes and dreams. Now, don't get me wrong, tutorials are great. You need a place to start, especially if you're just really getting into this for the first time. But there's a few key things you need to do when you're going into them. Number one, go in with an open mind. Be prepared that you won't understand some things. You can always write them down and come back to it later or do some research, but there is a lot to game development. And you just really need to understand this is a big learning experience. Be prepared to learn and learn a lot. Commit things to memory, take your time, and later on in your journey, you realize that you're solving problems that earlier in your journey, you did commit to memory. 2, don't think tutorials will solve everything. A lot of game development and programming is just problem solving. If you keep thinking that a tutorial is going to fix all your problems, you're not learning the key problem solving skills. You're just quickly searching up a solution and hoping that it'll fix it, and you'll just keep running into problems that you could probably fix yourself. Make sure you go in with a learning mindset. Try to fix some of the issues yourself. If you're having an issue with a tutorial, don't immediately type in the comments, hey, this doesn't work, and expect an answer. Spend some time trying to figure it out, see if you can actually learn how to solve this problem yourself. I just want to clarify that using Google or Stack Overflow is not a tutorial. It's actually a really important skill to learn, as you'll be adapting programming scripts and putting them into your own project to make them work. The big thing here, from what I just said, is making them work. So you'll be finding snippets of code, you'll be finding scripts anywhere on the internet and putting them into your own project. Now the thing here is that you'll find a lot of people initially post, hey, I need this, someone provides a solution, and below that you'll just have a, it does not work. Don't be that person. Try to actually figure it out, understand what the code does, and why it's not working with your project. You can always ask for more help, and that's fine. But as long as you understand the solution, then you're learning those problem-solving steps. Spend a bit of time analyzing the code and just try to figure out the solution. If you're in the very early stages of game dev, you may not be able to do this. And that's okay, you'll get there. But once you have the solution, make sure you understand 2 things. Why didn't it work? And what made it work? And no, copying the solution in isn't the what in that scenario. The what is what actually in the code changed to make it work. So understand the why didn't it and what made it. It's going to go a long way to helping you. Another thing I really want to talk about is that developers need to have a level of transparency. As we've talked about before with asset packs, they're fine to use, they're not bad. It's fine to use tutorials, but you need to make sure that you aren't trying to hide it and aren't trying to pass everything off as if you've created it single-handedly. Now that doesn't mean crediting every tutorial you've used. No way, that's insane. But make sure you're transparent if your entire game was produced from a tutorial. As a way of being transparent, 7th Chance, the first game I developed, started when I started a course. Now this course was a popular online course for game developers. It covers a lot of things from the marketing aspects to branding to social media. I guess that falls under marketing, but everything like that. And there's a big section in there about creating a game. Well, there's 2 sections about creating games. I went through all the marketing and branding stuff and decided, hey, I'll take a look at the game thing. And I started the tutorials. I got 3 lectures into it. And then I decided, hey, this is kind of cool. I learned a little bit about coloring the environment and just setting the general mood. And then I was like, hey, I've got a really cool story idea. I didn't go back to those tutorials. And that's what I'm trying to get at. I started tutorials like what you're doing, but you can come up with a cool idea and start integrating things yourself. You don't need to rely on a start to finish guide. It's not really good for development. And this is me being transparent. I'm open about using this course. You know, if someone asked me what I did, how I came up with the idea, well, the idea was entirely my own. That's fine. I came up with a cool story. But how I got the motivation and drive to actually start creating Seventh Chance and how it began, I'm telling you the whole story now. I'll tell anyone. That's fine. The difference would be is if I went through the tutorials, completed the tutorials, and tried to sell and pass off that game as my own. That's not transparency. That's lying to your audience. That's lying to anyone who believes in you, and it's ultimately lying to yourself as well. Yeah, you may have made a game, but I'd say if you followed a tutorial from start to finish and released it, it's not necessarily your game. You've just released someone else's game. And the point is that it will just feel like a hollow victory. I don't believe you will get the exact same feeling as if you've created something yourself and released it. So be honest with yourself and with your user base. Alright, so we're going to try something a little bit different here. We're going to do a longer devlog section, because I know that's what you're all here for, really. A little bit of advice and then finding out what I'm doing and how I'm screwing up my own game. But it's been a pretty hectic week. As I said last week, it was a lot of getting the audio right, the voice actors in, and just making sure that the final cut of the trailer was ready. And the trailer's out. The Steam page is up. What started us off as just feeling like a really unproductive week, it turned out to be phenomenal. The reception is pretty decent at the moment. If you haven't seen the trailer, click the little card up here, wherever it's going to be, or just click the link in the description, watch the trailer, and let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm really happy. This is just the beginning. It's time to get the demo ready and into your hands. If you want to know when the demo is available, by the way, just click the link in the description. There's a little link in there that'll guide you through what to do. As for the actual game, this week I'm just getting back into the swing of things. Last week, as I said, was a lot of getting the trailer ready, getting the Steam page ready, organizing all that, starting to do some base level marketing, using Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. The list goes on. Some weeks when you're making a game, you will barely touch your game, and that's perfectly fine. There's a lot of things you need to do in order to make sure that your game will have the market and the footing when it releases. That's just all part and parcel. You may not get to touch your game for a week. You may just get to touch it in very, very tiny amounts. And that's cool. This week so far has been a lot of writing, really. I've always had the main story arc planned out, like the base points of what's going to be happening and when. Don't know why I just said happening so weird. But what I'm trying to focus on is just making sure that the 15-minute vertical slice, the demo that you'll be playing, is a decent amount of story. Well, not so much a decent amount, but just conveys the story I'm trying to get across, gives you a feeling for the game, and just gets you excited to actually see what's happening in the world of We Are Not Alone. So yeah, I'm really happy with how the story is turning out, and you'll notice I'm mentioning story a lot. That's just because the story for this vertical slice, well, for the game as a whole, is very, very important. And I'm able to focus on the story because the mechanics, although they do need some work, things like animations and all that, it's a little bit sloppy and still needs some work. The mechanics and everything are in there. The base of the game is basically settled. So now I can start focusing on some of the other things that need to be done. And the primary focus going forward is really the puzzle design. That's what I'm having issues with. In a traditional point-and-click adventure game, there's a lot of backtracking. And that can generally be put down to padding for the game, making it a bit longer than it is. You know, you go to a room, you're like, oh, I need to do something here. Okay, I'll backtrack all the way over here, and then I'll look for an item. The list goes on. The thing is with traditional point-and-click adventures is that you can easily just click on a door and the character walks. You need to move the mouse, click once, it does the action, and you're in another room. Combining first-person horror with third-person point-and-click adventure, a lot of the exploration is done in the first-person mode. So that means a lot more interactivity from the player. So instead of just clicking on an object and walking over there, you're actually using the controller or the keyboard and physically moving the character around and looking yourself. So I don't want too much backtracking, because going from like one room in a hallway here through 7 different rooms up here just to try find an object and then looping all the way back through, that just seems like unnecessary hassle and padding, and I don't believe in making a game longer than it should be just for the sake of getting hours on a Steam review. So yeah, I'm working on a solution, trying to figure out a compromise here. I don't want the puzzles to be oversimplified where everything's confined to one room. They're just things that make complete logical sense. And yeah, I've got some ideas. It's just going to be testing over the next few weeks and just making sure that it works. As for the demo, by the way, if you haven't clicked the link in the description yet, make sure you do so you get first access when the demo is available. The planned release date for the demo is late Feb to early March, so it's not that much of a wait at all. And I'm really excited to see people playing it. I am super excited for this idea and this mechanic. If you are too, let me know in the comments. Well, I think that about wraps things up. When developing, make sure you've got an open mind. Make sure you're constantly learning and not just looking for solutions from somebody else. No one is going to spoon feed you a game. And if they do, it's not yours. Find out why your code isn't working. Find out why your character is standing on the wrong side of the room where they're meant to be right in front of you. Take a look, spend the time. I know you're in a rush to make a game. I know you really just want to get something out there and call yourself a game developer, but you want to be able to call yourself a good game developer. Be transparent, show your journey, get out there and just make something cool. I know you can do it. If I haven't done enough self-promotion in this video, please feel free to check out the timestamps listed here, or just go down to the description and click all the links. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you once again for watching. My name is Andrew from Stasis Booth Games, and as always, stay indie.